Look at this, mate. Look at this. You beauty. That's Bondi Beach. Just takes your breath away and puts everything in perspective. This is an amazing walk right by the beach. So this is where the Jewish community lives. From Bondi to Coogee Beach. Pretty ripper, eh, mate? Love the sunset. Being by the ocean just puts everything in perspective. My old man would say, never take out of the ocean the same thoughts you brought into it. Just pounds all your worries away. So the water temperature is about the same as the outside temperature, about 67 degrees. And it's clean. It's not all polluted. And if this was LA, you'd have all these homeless living under the rocks. Now we're homeless here. Oops. Yeah, thanks. Oops. Took a spill there. G'day mate, 40 here. So I've been a little self-conscious about taking my gimbal around. I haven't seen anyone carrying a selfie stick. So it's out for a walk during adult things. And I was just thinking about when narcissism is good. Because without some narcissism, I wouldn't be making these videos. Like, who the heck am I to be giving my cutting edge insights into life, right? I'm irrelevant, I'm nobody, I'm just another bloke. And so, as I've been navigating Australian bureaucracy and seeing how my peers are so much more adult and mature and got things together, and my brother and sister are just so far ahead of me in like ordinary adult competency, it's taken a toll on my narcissism. So I haven't made any videos recently because I'm just like trying to navigate the bureaucracy. So as soon as I navigate the Aussie bureaucracy, I got my Australian bank account set up, I got my Australian phone number set up, I'm getting an Australian tax file number tomorrow. As soon as I get Medicare, I get everything lined up, and then I'll feel like competent, and then I'll feel confident, and then I'll be like back making videos again. But while I'm struggling with ordinary adult tasks, it's hard to find the confidence to like give you my cutting edge insights into what sort of refugees Australia should take, or observances about Australian and American differences. Because when I'm struggling, I don't have the narcissism picked up. So narcissism is not a state; it's a condition. It's not a condition; it's a state, and it's variable. It depends on circumstance. So for years, I hardly made any videos. So between 2012 and 2015, I hardly made any videos because I was struggling in life. And when you're struggling in life, it's hard to have the grandiose vision that you've got something important to say. So I stopped making videos. It wasn't until I was encouraged by Vivian, who I met on Facebook, I kind of inspired by my conversations with her, that I started making videos with Vivian in 2015 and kind of got my confidence back. And 40 got his confidence back, which means a little bit of narcissism back, right? So desire for some attention and admiration, it can be healthy in appropriate doses. Without it, no one's going to perform publicly. Now, what do we got here? Cool, busy intersection. Better pay full attention. I didn't meant to come here for a holiday, right? And I came out on Friday morning, woke up at about 3 a.m. my first day in Sydney. Left the house about 5:30 a.m. when it was still dark. I was only intending to come here for a holiday. And I get out there and I see this. It's just amazing. Came out for a walk and I thought I should live here. This is the place for me. I'm out there at 5:30 a.m. Dozens of people are out here jogging and getting fit. Just so clean and safe and cohesive, friendly. And you can wear a yarmulke. No one's giving you heaps here. I only came here for a holiday, but I'm going to end up staying, right? You're not going to be able to rip me away from this place. And I think I had a life-changing experience of them live on my stream. So you can see from Friday morning live stream, here during the course of the stream, that I'm changing. I came here for a holiday. I'm deciding to spend the rest of my life here. Right? So I was talking to a lot of friends and a sponsor and trying to find out what blind spots I might have. Like, what was I missing? And we quoted the old maxim, like no one on the deathbed says, "Oh, I wish I'd spent more time at the office." People want to spend more time with family, and I got family right here in Australia, mate. I got a brother and a sister, uncles, nieces, cousins, aunties, and friends from childhood, and new friends that I've made online, and a thriving Jewish community. Lots of shores where I feel very comfortable. I just walked along this ocean path and I was just broken in two by the beauty and the high quality of the life here. But I'm not leaving. I gotta stay here. How do those surfers elevate like a foot off the ocean? See that bloke? Wow. Like Australia doesn't really have the culture wars that America does. Like not much controversy over abortion, Black Lives Matter. These Australians are too relaxed. They just want to have a barbie, go to the beach, go to Sydney cricket ground, be with their mates, have a drink, make some money. So if culture wars in America is say a 10 out of 10, then culture wars in Australia, they're like a 2 or a 3 out of 10. I mean, when it came to COVID, it was basically a bipartisan consensus. So both the ruling coalition and the opposition Labour Party governed on consensus with regard to COVID. Hey, g'day Jim, how are you, mate? Thank you for your hospitality, man. Jim's been showing me right around Sydney, getting to meet the people who matter. Been a very hospitable host. Ah, high quality drinking fountains here, mate. G'day mate, 40 here, so I'm at St. Mary's Cathedral. Look at that, look at that, in downtown Sydney, the central business district. Pretty flash. I think this is I assume this is the biggest cathedral in Australia. So the Anglican church is near here, it's the oldest, I think, church in Australia. But this is the central business district, right? All the excitement of the city, but all the beauty of the country. How's it going, mate?
Good, yourself?
Oh, wonderful. I'm a tourist.
That's correct.
It's just amazing. So we got a crash here. So Christmas here is the middle of summer. So don't expect many snowflakes here. But it's been weird weather, just cloudy, overcast, rainy. My entire time here, and it's been a little challenging for me to live stream because I've switched from vacation mode, where I'm just like confident in my vacation, to I'm gonna move here. So I'm spending my days navigating bureaucracy. I just set up an Australian bank account. I'm about to get an Australian phone. I'm going to register for Medicare here in Australia. I'm going to get a tax file number so I can work. I'm polishing my resume. As soon as I get an Aussie phone number, I'll attach that to my resume and send it out. So no longer like carefree vacation mode, kick back, do what I like. Now it's like I'm adulting, taking on adult responsibilities, bank account, Medicare, health insurance, health coverage, phone, tax file number, get a job, be an adult. So it's interesting during this transition, I don't have like the confidence and the cockiness that it takes to do good live streams, because I'm just uncertainly, awkwardly, with frequent failure, like navigating Australian government bureaucracy. Oh yeah, I got an Opal card so I can so I can ride public transport here in Australia, and like learning how to use the bus, learning how to use the train. It's always this like light rain, just finding my way around. So this is Hyde Park, where all the nutters are. They're supposed to be. O-rating, but look at that. What a magnificent cathedral. So there goes an ambulance. I pray that the ambulance gets to the hospital on time so that everyone's alright. Central Business District. Right? Where's the graffiti? Where's the crime? Where's the menace? Where are the squeegee men? Where's the dysfunction? And where's my cockiness and the confidence that it takes to live stream? Right? It's hard to be cocky and confident when you're trying to figure out the bureaucracy and what it takes to be a functioning adult in Australia. Just might move here. No one's around because of the rain and the COVID. Oh, is that where everyone is? So many flash shops that I see, and I can just imagine they've been devastated by the COVID. Like, there's so much money sloshing around here. And then we had the lockdowns, devastating business. But it's hard to get on here and get all cocky and confident and tell you this is the way things are. Because I'm just awkwardly figuring out how to use the ferry, how to use the tram, how to use the train, how to use the bus, how to make your way in the big city, in the big smoke. Set up, I got lunches the next 3 days. See my mates. You see my best mate from childhood, my other best mate, and a new mate that I never met, but just talked to on Facebook and on his podcast, I believe. And then I'll have to meet up again with Jim Bowden and see what Jim Bowden's plans are for me. I'm thinking about going to Bondi tomorrow. That's where most of the kosher restaurants are. In Bondi. It's a lovely walk along the beach. I went to see my ancestor Michael Dyer, the famous Irish reprobate, rebel, kept fighting against the British. So I saw his grave. It's up from Coogee, and it's the biggest grave in the whole cemetery. So Henry Lawson's buried there, all sorts of big names buried there overlooking the ocean. But Michael Dyer, my ancestor, whose blood still runs through my veins, still powering my rebellious attitude. And I paid homage, visited his grave, got in contact with my own, Michael Dyer. So, great news, guys. The Prime Minister said that they're going to take 3,000 Afghan refugees, but that's the floor. That's not the ceiling, guys. Think about how Afghan refugees are going to make this country much more vibrant. So more refugees are on the way. So Australia hasn't allowed in any immigrants over the past 18 months, but they're starting to open the doors to overseas students, overseas travelers from South Korea and Japan, and they're starting to up their refugee intake. So this place is so boring without Somalis and Afghans coming around to just liven things up. So it's interesting in the news coverage that nothing about how these refugees will be a benefit to Australia. It's all about Australia's humanitarian concerns, right? All about doing good for the refugees, but what about the refugees doing good for Australia? That doesn't seem to come up. It's not even a concern. Like, in all the talk about refugee intake, there's nothing, no one bothers to make the case how this will be good for Australia. What about Australia, mate? What about Australia? Does Australia have any interest here? Right? Does Australia have anything at stake here? Is it okay for Australia to ask, okay, how are these refugees going to benefit us? Like, do they have valuable job skills that native Australians don't have? The government sets wage rates by determining how much immigration you have. Right? The more immigration, like the lower wage rates go. So, yeah, you're an average Aussie. You're not so average Aussie. That's a different state you allow into this country. So, it's all well and good to be charitable, but I would have been charitable in a way that enhances your country. Say, with people with valuable job skills that, say, the natives don't have. There was some god-awful fire in Sydney that killed 4 Somali kids. So, I don't know, were the parents derelict? Who was derelict? Josh Randall, how are you, mate? You got Australia envy? We're gonna assemble the whole crew here and we're gonna go on a walkabout. But I'm just wondering, did the Somali family do something wrong? I mean, 4 Somali kids going up in smoke. Australia's not benefited at all from African immigration? That can't be true. That sounds racist, mate. I'm sure that there are many ways, bountiful ways, considerable ways that Australia's benefited from African immigration. Just walkabout streams are the best. I didn't bring my selfie stick. I'm a little self-conscious because I'm the only person I've seen in Australia carrying around a selfie stick. And spending most of today doing adult tasks. I set up my bank account this morning, my Aussie bank account. And I got to link it to my PayPal, so start funneling the money into Australia. You plan to visit other states? Yeah, I plan to go to Queensland, mate. Queensland, but you have to take a PCR COVID test. Costs $150 just to enter Queensland. Selfie sticks of the day. Yeah, I'm the only one walking around with a selfie stick. I feel like I'm being an ugly American. Yeah, PCR test, like $150. Like it was $185 in Los Angeles. Yeah, just flip a coin. I'm triple vaxxed, man. I'm triple vaccinated. I can't even go to synagogue here without showing proof of vaccination. Yeah, Queensland. So yesterday there was something like 120 new cases of COVID in Victoria, about 20 new cases in Sydney, like 2 new cases in the Northern Territory. Okay. Your thoughts on Australian jury? They seem to be overachievers. That's what they seem to be. They seem to be quite well organized, and I'll have to learn more. Talk to you later. G'day mate, reporting here. Probably wondering what life is like under a new state in Australia. This is tyranny. I don't want to be free. Tyranny means that when you enter a store, you check in with a unique barcode. And you wear a mask when you're inside the store. So that's the law. And that's how things roll here in Bondi. A nice little Jewish neighborhood. Very Hamish, very friendly. Been in Australia 6 days now. Haven't heard a harsh word, except from within my own head at times. I've seen quite a few synagogues and Jewish schools. Nice place to be Jewish, yeah. Restaurants here in Bondi, all the fixins. So one crazy thing I noticed, I think it's the same in the UK, probably much of the US, much of the industrialized world, is that they're still obsessed with cleaning surfaces. Right? You're not going to get COVID from a surface. Right? It's airborne transmission. But sometimes as a condition of entry, you have to use some kind of hand sanitizer. And they have the lower level staff, such as on the buses, on the trains, like cleaning everything, all the services again and again and again. That's not how COVID's transmitted. We know that's not how COVID's transmitted. So, it's a bit irrational. But early on in the pandemic, right, we heard about, oh, COVID can linger on surfaces for this many hours. We have to scrub and clean, and deep clean, and deep COVID cleaning services were offered. COVID doesn't linger on the surfaces in a dangerous way. It's airborne transmission. So, wearing a mask seems like common sense to me when you're inside around other people. Australia's got about 1/50th of the per capita death rate of the States. So I'd say they've done a pretty good job with their COVID restrictions, but haven't done anything really that other countries haven't done. They just enjoy many advantages. So we don't really know what it is. We don't really know why. We don't have a strong grasp on why some places have high COVID death rates and other places don't. Oh. That looks like a nice walk up the hill. Let's see how I do, mate. Overlooking Bondi Beach. It's a nice Chabad synagogue welcoming Mashiach. Just up the street here. So, not getting any abuse out and about wearing my yarmulke. Keeping it Jewish here in Bondi. So pretty much every shop you go into, they have like the lowest level employees who stand at the door and make sure you check in. And often use hand sanitizer, check in on your smartphone. And wear a mask while you're inside. And I don't hear much grumbling on the street, so I know there was a big protest in Central Business District of Sydney on Saturday, so they have these freedom protests. But overall it seems like the restrictions are fairly popular. Now, I tell everyone I meet that Sydney seems like a really well-run place. The government's working on behalf of its citizens. But all the Sydney-siders have lots and lots of complaints. But I see a city where the trains and the buses run on time, where the garbage gets picked up, where everything's lush, abundant parks. What a gorgeous golf course in Bondi. Wow. So I've been hanging out in the eastern suburbs, so these are the most expensive places in Australia. So you can allow the prices to discriminate so that you don't have to. And Queensland's opening up. Maybe you have to pop up to Queensland about 3 weeks, and you no longer have to get that $150 PCR test to show that you're COVID negative to cross over into Queensland. So I see quite a few Muslims out in full Muslim regalia. This must be a much more multi-culti Australia than the one I left behind in 1977. Haven't heard any racial or religious abuse ordered at anyone. It's just not on here on the eastern suburbs, mate. Such language and behavior would show you to be low class. This better be a great view at the top here, mate. It better be Butte. Whew. To justify my exertions. So far I've been able to walk pretty much everywhere I want to go, which is nice. Not once have I felt any sense of menace. You going to join a sports club, play a bit of cricket? Oh, I think I'm more of a commentator, mate. Yeah, well, I'm getting in shape. Getting in shape to become a lifeguard. A few more weeks in Australia, I'll be able to run up this hill, mate. Oh. So where's the trash? Where's the graffiti? Where are the rival gangs? People go to the beach here, they leave their phones, their wallets, their purses, their laptops right on the beach, go for a dip, come back, everything's still there. Lifeguards not only look out for people in the sea, they also look out for thieves. Seems to have done a pretty effective job discouraging them. So that was Cronulla. They had the Cronulla riots of native Australians versus the Lebanese. So that's a few miles from here. About 15 miles from here, 20. No rioting going on in the eastern suburbs. We're too posh. Very Anglo names around here, Victory Street. So, meanwhile in Charlottesville, big defeat for the alt-right. Well, the defendants lost the civil suit, right? Not that they have any money to pay up, but those judgments will be hanging over them for the rest of their lives. Also, it doesn't look good. So, did the alt-right acquit itself in glory at Charlottesville? I don't think so. Turns out to be a really bad idea. So, Charlottesville reminds me of a situation I got into in late August or early September of 1988. I was at UCLA and I'd arrived a month early before the dormitories opened up. And there was a big tennis tournament going on at UCLA. So I didn't want to spend the money, so I climbed this outcrop to watch the tennis for free. And then as the tournament progressed, they started sending security guards to run us out of the outcrop. So I was there watching the match for free with some other blokes. And security came up and security said we have to leave. And as he was saying that, he slipped on the edge of the parapet. It's a very substantial fall down to the ground. And he could have lost his life. And I might have played a role in all of that. Because if I hadn't been up there, I wouldn't have been up there. Security wouldn't have been up there. So you hold an event, unlikely to have complete control of who comes. And so you then bear some responsibility for bad behavior of blokes like Fields. So my full interview with Dr. Andrew Fraser is on my Rumble account. So you have more free speech on Rumble than you do on YouTube. So YouTube gave me a strike. I thought I had definitely put that Andrew Fraser interview on private on YouTube just so that I could download it. And somehow it ended up public and very quickly got a strike. So that's why I'm not streaming on my other channel. Oh, 41 minutes, that's all I did, right? So I primarily made a social call on Andrew Fraser, so the interview was secondary. Charlottesville journey was all from the town. Yeah, they were doomed from the start, right? So you're not only responsible for your deeds, you bear some responsibility for the repercussions of your deeds. Yeah, I just ended it so that Andrew could enjoy his dessert, so everyone could enjoy their dessert. So I primarily paid a social call on Andrew Fraser and his wife. And quick interview was just a little something on the side. This view better be worth it, mate. Looking forward to a spectacular look into the Pacific Ocean here. Just saw a book on the history of the Pacific Ocean. Like, how do you write a history of the Pacific Ocean? And in 1829, there was a tide that was unusual. I flew Fiji Airlines to Australia. Yeah, it didn't matter where the jury was from with the news coverage. So we flew over on Fiji Airlines, but we weren't just following twigs and patterns in the wave and navigating from the sun. We had full professional instruments. Ah, this is nice. The Rodney Reserve. Many people don't realize that this is the Rodney Reserve is named after Rodney Martin for his contributions to humanity. Maybe we'll get in some Aussie rules. First test cricket match is going to be at the Gabba in Brisbane in about 2 weeks. First Ashes match. Not after Rodney King, mate. Okay. What do we got here? Oh, this is beautiful. So about 12 hours flight going east to west will take me to Los Angeles. I think it's only 12 hours back home. While to fly straight from Los Angeles to Sydney is about 15 hours. About to have a late lunch at a kosher restaurant in Bondi. Oh, that breeze off the ocean, mate, it's tops. Yeah, this is life under a police state, mate. Go to Hungry Jack's and get yourself a veggie whopper. I don't think that place is kosher, mate. here to support the Jewish community. Open up my wallet. Australian dollar, it's like a kangaroo dollar. It just really jumps far over here. Right? 72 American cents gets you 1 Australian dollar. Good place to raise kids if you can afford it. It's safe. Kids can ride public transport. They can go play and muck around. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm going to turn it off right now. Sorry, mate. This place is gorgeous. Look at this. Look at this golf course. Oh, what a gorgeous, gorgeous golf course. Man, I want to play a few holes. Even though I don't think I've played golf in 20 years, but just looking at this, I want to go play again, man. What a ripper golf course here in Bondi. What a beautiful Jewish community here, man. Some lovely city. Oh, mate, my lunch. Had late lunch at Pita Mix. I had the vegetarian burger, and it was so good. Oh, so there's Pita Mix. There's a series of kosher restaurants in Bondi. I'm walking along the core of the community right now, and the beach is about 1 kilometer to my left. So it's a really, not just a cohesive Australian community here, there's a cohesive Jewish community as well. The rabbis get along, like they work together. During the lockdown, they organized shofar blowing on Rosh Hashanah in the park, so to reduce risk of COVID. So the Sydney rabbis emphasize that the law of the land is more to the Jew. Talmudic dictate still applies in 2021. So you do the shofar blowing in the park for 10 minutes, then everyone goes home. Social distances. So very little spread of COVID in the Australian community and the Jewish community. No, in Sydney, there was a fringe of a fringe group that disregarded lockdown rules. I think they got fined about 5,500 Australian each, disregarding the rules. That's very rare in the Jewish community, and not how things are done here in Sydney. They by the book, obey the law of the land, observe the lockdown, and it's just a wonderful thing to see how cohesive the Sydney Jewish community was, and not just with reaction to COVID, but in general. It's about as scandal-free a community as you'll find. Like, rabbis don't allow their egos to get in the way, and working with other rabbis, so all the rabbis here, they work together to build a safe, cohesive community. And maybe the relaxed Australian attitude also affects the Jewish community, so there's not a lot of feuding here in Sydney. Rival rabbis aren't going at it. So there's about 80%, as I understand it, of Sydney's Jews live in the eastern suburbs. So those are the poshest communities by the beach. They're children of Holocaust survivors from Central Eastern Europe, and a lot of South African Jews have moved here. So they tend to be entrepreneurial, highly accomplished, highly educated, law-abiding, and they contribute enormously to the tax base because when they send their kids to private Jewish schools, they're still funding public schools. So when you're a doctor, a lawyer, a dentist, an accountant, an entrepreneur, you're paying a disproportionate amount of tax, and you're not using the social services nearly as much because you send your kids to a private Jewish school, and the Jewish community takes care of its own. Right? So it finds jobs for people, helps people. And I love my first experience here in the Bondi Jewish community. Much of a friend, just went on a grand walkabout. And even though things are pretty chill, and don't notice any overt racial or religious hostility here in the eastern suburbs, still the security is excellent on top of things. No slackness there with the security. When I grew up a Seventh-day Adventist, and so we didn't have security. Right? We didn't have to have law enforcement showing up to our churches. We didn't have to use metal detectors and background checks on people coming to church. But that's something I learned when I converted to Judaism as a much greater threat, and as a result, the more measures you have to take to keep things safe. And these measures have just steadily escalated, particularly after the shooting in Pittsburgh. The synagogue that left about 10 people dead, and then another shooting in Poway a year after that. So that then ripples out to have effects on the Jewish community worldwide. But what can we do instead of just relying on the kindness of strangers and relying on law enforcement? What can we do to look after ourselves? I just think that's such a healthy attitude. Every community should have that kind of mindset. What can we do to look after ourselves? What can we do to plug our weaknesses? What can we do to protect our community? What can we do to help our community? What can we do to revitalize our community? What can we do to help our community prosper? And if there are elements in the community that are causing trouble, what can we do to solve those problems? So Sydney's Jewish community is like a light unto the nations, right? Really impressed by everything I see in here. Australia's had pretty selective immigration, probably the sanest immigration policy of any of the Anglo nations. So overwhelmingly, people who immigrate here are educated, they have skills, they're entrepreneurial, they bring something to the table, and they, as a result, build a prosperous life here, and as a result of that, they pay a lot of tax, which then subsidizes social services for those who need them. So there are lots of Chabad, Lubavitch synagogues in Bondi, and then there's another Orthodox Jewish community up north. So this is the primary Sydney Jewish community along Old Southhead Road, which is where I'm walking now, inside the golf course. Love golf. Like, it attracts the best sort of people, man. People who play golf, they tend to be nice, they tend to be polite, they tend to follow the rules, they tend to be law-abiding, they tend to be ethical, they tend to hold themselves to account, they take cognizance of the effects of their choices on other people. Golfers are the best. And it's been a while since I've been out there golfing. Just a good type of people. both attracts the best kind of people and then develops their character. Have your tefillin seen the light of day in Australia? Of course, mate. Got to get connected to that great power source, the Almighty. And that's the best power source. People like 40 desperately need a power greater than themselves, because my power is weak. My power shuts off way too often. I have to plug into the great power generator from the sky, creator of heaven and earth. So a lot of people in Sydney say, oh, the traffic is as bad as LA. Yeah, not quite. Not quite. This is like a peaceful country town. It is, I guess it's about 5 p.m. So I'm looking for the ocean. I want to take a pleasant ocean hike. A perfect time of day to go to the ocean. So the temperature here is varied between about 60 degrees and 70 degrees. It's rained pretty much every day, only lightly. All right, here's a good sized intersection. So I think we're about 1 kilometer from the beach. Bondi Beach, right? Yeah, jacaranda in bloom. Good infrastructure for a Jewish community here, everything you need. So kosher stores, mikvahs, there are synagogues, there are schools. Now they even have their own live streamer. The only selfie stick I've seen in Australia, mate. So, afraid I'm being antisocial, right? Not very Aussie to walk around with a selfie stick. But Australians are pretty tolerant people. She'll be right, mate. It's kind of the Aussie ethos. Okay, here we go. No worries. So, when I was talking to Aussies in Los Angeles, they complained about how when they go to shul, they'd always get verbally abused. They're wearing distinctive garb and wearing a yarmulke. But everyone I talk to here says that doesn't happen. So talking to Jews here who never experienced being verbally abused for being Jewish and haven't encountered visceral anti-Jewish hatred. So by and large, Jews and Muslims live in different parts of Sydney. So the Muslims live more in the western suburbs, where the real estate is cheaper. The Jews live in the eastern suburbs, where the real estate is more expensive. Oh, a lot of roundabouts. There are a lot more roundabouts than traffic lights. So I think America is going to start using roundabouts. There's a big article in the New York Times about one mayor. I think he'd been to Europe and he saw all the roundabouts. And he thought, good idea. So apparently roundabouts reduce dangerous collisions. Oh yeah, mate? We're on the way to the beach. So you're dealing with Australian bureaucracy, and it's very particular. So it can be a bit of a pain to get your Medicare sorted out, roundabouts of the commies. And your tax file number, they can start working. Didn't bring enough documents. I only had 2 documents. They wouldn't accept documents on my phone. Had to be hard copies. So get a tax file number at the Australian Post Office. But once you're in, mate. A little bit like Orthodox Judaism. Not easy to break into as an outsider, right? Bit of a test when you convert. Bit of a challenge to assimilate in the community. But once you're in, mate, and you're amongst family. Okay, my sister was right, I should have worn a hat. A lot of sun out today. Didn't slap on enough sunscreen. Look out for your mates, and your mates look out for you. Yeah, that's the Aussie ethos, mate. So, what's the saying? Slip on a shirt, slap on a hat, slop on some sunscreen. Slip, slop, slip, slap, slop. That's the Aussie public service announcements to reduce skin cancer. That's with the glasses. I like to be able to see clearly, mate. So much gorgeous scenery here. The birds are amazing. Saw and heard some kookaburras the other day. I felt right at home. I'm not a vain man, mate. Oops, I think I can run. Okay, here we go.
Is there any change in the rate?
Just gonna look for the flag. Wow, this whole neighborhood's happening, mate. Just bursting with life and vitality. Just getting back to it after lockdown ended about 5 weeks ago. So crowds are returning. I believe we're going to have full crowds at the Test cricket matches, the Ashes against England. So tons of cafes and coffee houses, and new thing in Australia the last couple of decades. Less beer drinking, more wine drinking, more coffee drinking. So the Sydney Jewish community definitely punches above its weight. Like, very successful, hardworking, accomplished, educated, influential, deeply Zionist, committed to Israel. Fund a lot of institutes, think tanks, like the Lowy Institute. Is that the Lowy Institute the #1 institute in Australia, mate? Oh, Sheila's. Everyone in eastern suburbs seems so fit. So I saw on the news that Australians had become as fat as Americans. I don't see that in the eastern suburbs. I haven't seen one fat person in the eastern suburbs. Everyone's fit. Like, you come out to the beach 5, 6 a.m. Everyone's out jogging, young, old, men, women. Out getting fit. I don't see one fat person in the eastern suburbs, mate. Like, I thought Australia had become a nation of fatties. And I'm not seeing it here on the eastern suburbs. So it's also true with like West LA, you don't see many fat people too. So this feels like West LA, except without the crime, without the homelessness, without the graffiti, without general antisocial behavior, without loud music booming out of cars, without gangs disrupting shopping centers,